Welcome to GTC and thank you for joining us today. Before we begin, we wanted to cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your screen are multiple application widgets you can use. All the windows on your screen are resizable and movable. If you have any questions during the webcast, you can submit them through the Q&A window to the right of the slides, and we will try to answer these at the end of the event. A copy of today's slide deck will be available in the GTC session catalog. You can find additional answers to some common technical issues located in the Help widget at the bottom of your screen. An on-demand version of the webcast will be available approximately 1 hour after the webcast and can be accessed in the session catalog. Now, without further ado, we'll turn the event over to our speaker to begin the presentation.
Thank you all for joining us. Today, I will be talking about bringing AI to DIY, or in other words, making AI accessible for everyone using the NVIDIA Jetson. It is a foregone conclusion that AI is going to change the way we live, work, and play. AI is all around us, whether it's the virtual assistant answering our questions or a smart thermostat learning our preferences to make our home more comfortable. AI is recommending us what shows to watch and what products to buy based on our profile. AI algorithms are adding filters to our videos and photos and auto-completing our search queries. AI is also perceiving the world through various sensors and controlling our cars to drive them autonomously. These are just some of the many applications of AI that we use every day. The next big revolution that is taking shape as we speak is the Internet of Things. It is going to be 1,000 times bigger than the Internet of People, and it will transform every industry as we know it. Everything around us will be autonomous, and everything will have built-in intelligence. As a result, instead of programming computers, we will be programming things. To enable this fast-growing Internet of Intelligent Things, we created the NVIDIA Jetson platform. The foundation of the Jetson platform is the Jetson computer, which is built using NVIDIA's high-performance SoCs that are ARM-based CPUs and integrated CUDA-enabled GPUs, and many other dedicated processors for processing a wide variety of sensor inputs. These computers also offer many high-speed and low-speed I/Os for connecting different peripherals and sensors. The journey of Jetson platform started in March 2014 when we launched the Jetson TK1, which was designed to solve advanced computer vision problems. That was followed by Jetson TX1 and Jetson TX2, which enabled development of modern AI at the edge in a small embedded form factor for the very first time. In 2018, we launched Jetson AGX Xavier, the most advanced computer designed from the ground up for autonomous machines, offering up to 30 trillion operations per second of AI performance. To address the growing need for entry-level AI, we launched the NVIDIA Jetson Nano in 2019, priced at just $99. And earlier this year in May, we launched the Jetson Xavier NX, our most energy-efficient platform for AI with cloud-native capability for deployment at scale. We have seen a huge interest in learning and developing AI-based applications recently. In just the last 18 months since we launched Jetson Nano, we have seen a 10 times increase in the developer activity and have reached a massive 700,000 registered developers. At the same time, our customers continue to develop innovative new products with Jetson and bring them to market faster than ever. However, just like a good racing car needs a good driver to win the race, to harness the capabilities of a powerful compute hardware, you need a strong software stack. And the importance of the software gets amplified even more for AI applications because unlike traditional devices, AI-enabled devices are software-defined systems that continuously learn from the data and get better over time, offering enhanced performance, accuracy, and functionality. The Jetson platform comes with a comprehensive set of software tools and SDKs that are updated regularly to keep up with the rapid pace of innovation happening in the world of AI. Thanks to our one unified GPU architecture, the same software tools and libraries that are used by the most powerful multi-million-dollar supercomputers in the world are also available to developers on the $99 Jetson Nano. This unique capability of the platform enables Jetson to offer the most advanced software for development of AI in the industry and makes it the ideal platform to start learning AI. The Jetpack SDK forms the foundation and provides the board support package, Linux-based operating system, CUDA-X libraries for AI, accelerated computing, graphics, and computer vision, libraries for multimedia processing, sensor drivers, and libraries for integrating a host of peripherals, tools for security, cloud-native development, deployment, debugging, and more. To provide the maximum flexibility to the developers to create and deploy their application, a large part of the Jetpack software is provided with source. Built on the Jetpack SDK, we offer the DeepStream SDK for streaming video analytics and the Isaac SDK for robotics. We are hosting dedicated sessions to cover these SDKs in detail, and I encourage you to also attend those. The best part of the Jetson software is that the same stack runs on all products, so you can easily upgrade your Jetson computer and reuse all the software that you have previously developed. For those of you who have tried working with AI and machine learning, must be familiar with the torture of setting up your development environment due to complex dependencies and version compatibility issues. I have seen developers spend several days on just doing this. On Jetson, we have made it super simple to set up your development environment for popular frameworks such as PyTorch, TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, and Pandas using containers hosted on the NVIDIA GPU cloud. Developers can now get started with just one command line and spend more time on developing their application. We also provide containers for the DeepStream SDK and some other sample applications like speech processing, gaze detection, people detection, and pose estimation. For those of you who are just getting started with AI, we have created an amazing free hands-on course that teaches you how to develop an end-to-end AI application using the Jetson Nano and a camera. In just a few hours, you will develop your own interactive AI application, which would have required a PhD several months to develop without the power of AI. Built using Jupyter Lab, this course provides a very detailed and easy to follow instructions that can be used by anyone with basic knowledge of computers and programming. This is a unique course that lets you learn hands-on AI by going through the complete workflow of collecting the data, labeling it, training a model, and then deploying it for inference, all on the same device. Another great thing about this course is that the software developed for this is very modular, so developers can also reuse it for developing their own application. Another very fun and educational project that we have developed for learning AI and robotics is the JetBot. The project includes an open source hardware and software for building a small robot car with AI-enabled perception to detect obstacles, follow objects, and navigate on a given track. Similar to getting started with the AI course, the software for the JetBot is also developed using Jupyter Notebooks, making it super easy for anyone to follow. The response from the developers has been fantastic. We have several partners that now offer this robot as a complete kit, and thousands of developers have used the JetBot project to learn about AI and robotics. Let's take a look at how easy it is to program the JetBot with just a few clicks to avoid obstacles by developing an AI model that can tell when its path is blocked and when it's free. For those of you who are new to the Jetson platform, I want to highlight some of the helpful resources for learning and getting support. The first and one of the most important resources is the Jetson Developer Forum. With more than 80,000 active developers, the Jetson Developer Forum is the best place to get answers to your questions on all things related to Jetson. The forums are managed by a team of NVIDIA engineers and power users of the product who provide 24/7 coverage and support for our developers and customers. The Jetson forums are not only a place to ask your questions, but also a great place to share what you're working on, learn from others in the community, and get the latest product announcements. We have completely revamped the forum recently to provide much better tagging, searching, and issue tracking capabilities for our developers. Our developer community has also created tutorials and how-to guides that can be very useful for those who are new to the platform. We continuously collect these contributions for our community, add more to them, and aggregate them for easy discovery. You can find tutorials for most commonly used functions, such as connecting a camera, to more advanced topics like running a Kubernetes pod in the Community Resources section of the NVIDIA developer website. Since Jetson is often used to connect sensors and peripherals, we have worked with some of the leading providers of hardware to provide seamless integration with Jetson over GPIO, I2C, and SPI interfaces. Developers can interface to more than 200 Adafruit products supported by the Blinka library. We have also partnered with C Studio to support the Grove sensors and with SparkFun to support the large collection of quick hardware. Leveraging all of these resources, researchers, makers, and developers around the world are creating some really amazing things. We work closely with these developers to make their open source projects more visible and reward them for their contribution. Some of the best projects are featured on our community project webpage, and these serve as an excellent resource for learning about a wide variety of applications that you can develop with Jetson. We really appreciate the work our community is doing and thank them for the contributions. Let's take a quick look at a video montage that we have created showing some of these projects. Jetson is also being used by many big companies and startups to bring innovative solutions with AI at the edge. Here you can see some of our customers. John Deere is using AI to reduce the use of herbicides and improve the crop yield. Oxford Nanopore is performing DNA sequence in the field to detect diseases faster. Fanuc is using AI for predictive maintenance and optical inspection in manufacturing. Cisco is using Jetson to enable seamless collaboration using the telepresence system. Today, we took another big step in making AI accessible to everyone and accelerating the development of AIoT. We announced the new Jetson Nano 2GB developer kit for learners, makers, and educators around the world. At $59, Jetson Nano 2GB is the ultimate AI and robotics starter kit. Built on the same architecture as the Jetson Nano, it can run all AI frameworks and models and supports the full CUDA-X software stack. The pre-orders are open now, and the product will start shipping by the end of October. Let's double-click and look at some of the specs of the Jetson Nano 2GB developer kit. It is powered by 64-bit quad-core A57 ARM CPUs and 128-core CUDA-enabled Maxwell GPU. It is capable of hardware-accelerated processing of 4K 30 video for encode and 4K 60 for decode. Looking at the interfaces, it has two USB 2.0 and one USB 3 port. There is a MIPI CSI 2 camera connector, HDMI out for display, and gigabit Ethernet port. There is a 40-pin header for GPIOs and other low-speed IOs such as I2C, SPI, UART, and I2S. It uses USB Type-C for power input and has micro SD card slot for storage. And it is just 80 mm by 100 mm in size. We have also included a USB dongle to enable 802.11ac wireless networking. The wireless module is currently included in Europe and America and will be soon expanded to cover the rest of the world. But don't let the small size and price fool you. The Jetson Nano 2GB packs a lot of performance for running real-time AI inference. NVIDIA's industry-leading AI ecosystem and fully programmable embedded CUDA GPU enables the Jetson Nano 2GB to support all popular AI frameworks and all AI models. In this chart, you can see the inference performance of Jetson Nano for classification, object detection, segmentation, and pose estimation models is orders of magnitude better than Raspberry Pi 4. All the scripts and models for running these benchmarks are posted on our GitHub repo. We provided some of our best developers early access to the Jetson Nano 2GB developer kit, and the response has been fantastic. They have created some inspiring projects that are available with a complete source code and documentation for everyone. Let's take a quick look at what they have done. Finally, today we also announced the Jetson AI certification program. We have developed a curriculum focused on mentors, educators, and learners who want to get started with AI using the NVIDIA Jetson platform. The curriculum includes video lectures and access to the associated software that can be used with the Jetson computer to train anyone from high school kid to a professional looking to reskill themselves. At the end of the course, you need to submit an independent project developed based on your learnings from the curriculum. And once approved by our team of reviewers, you will be granted a certificate by NVIDIA's Deep Learning Institute. Check out our website for more details on this program and how to get started. To summarize, NVIDIA Jetson is the best platform for learning AI and developing autonomous systems. And with the addition of the new Jetson Nano 2 GB developer kit, it has become even more accessible to millions of developers around the world. It supports all the latest and greatest frameworks for AI, and the programmability of the NVIDIA GPU enables deployment of all types of AI models. Jetson hardware and software is designed to support development of end-to-end AI applications that can sense, perceive, and act. Also, our one architecture not only enables you to run inference on the device, but also do incremental training. The free learning curriculum makes it easy for anyone to start learning AI. The broad portfolio of Jetson products and the comprehensive software stack enable developers to go from beginner to pro on the same platform. The Jetson platform has one of the largest community of AI developers that is growing faster than ever. So I welcome you all to join us in this journey. I would like to thank you all for taking out time to join us today. Thank you all for joining us today for this webinar. We are now going to take some questions and answers. You can continue to post them in the chat forum, and we'll pick those questions from there and answer as many as we can. So there are already a few questions that have been asked, and let me try answering some of them. The first question is it's from a school teacher who wants to know whether Jetson can be used for projects in the class, and would it be too complicated for students in the 15 to 18-year-olds? The answer is yes, absolutely. You can use Jetson for the classroom. In fact, that is one of the big reasons we have made this more affordable and simplified our software so that it can be used by students of high school and middle school. We work with a lot of them. We actually have them as interns in our office just to validate that they're able to use this product. So there's a lot of content that's available. Lots of students use it for FIRST robotics. So absolutely, you can look at a new curriculum that we have launched, which will provide you with all the tools and training that you need to develop your own classroom content with Jetson. There was another question on, will the Jetson Nano 2 GB work on JetBot? Yes, it will be. We will update the Jetson software image on the JetBot, and as you saw in the video, JetBot is one of the projects that we have developed and validated for the new Jetson Nano 2 GB.
Hey, Amit, I was slow on the unmute there. I should jump in and introduce myself. I'm Phil. I'm just going to help out, answer some questions also. I work with Amit.
Thanks, Phil.
You bet. I see one question here asking about the Wi-Fi on the new 2 GB developer kit. And absolutely, yeah, the new developer kit comes with a 802.11 AC wireless adapter, and that wasn't available in all regions immediately. So we do have two different SKUs. In regions where the adapter is not available yet, we sell the developer kit without it included for a little bit less money. But our goal is to get that rolled in everywhere as we can.
There's another question where asking if there's requirement to be proficient on a given programming language to begin using Jetson. Well, Jetson supports all programming languages, right? So you can program in C, C++, Python. And if you look at the content that we have developed, the interface that I showed you with Jupyter notebooks, most of the code is already written. You just need to step through it. So a basic, any basic knowledge of programming and a little bit of Python will help, but it's you don't need to know any specific language to get started. We provide you all the tools to familiarize and learn.
I see a question here asking about different architectures, and will we continue to make new NVIDIA architectures available on the Jetson platform, just like we do for data centers or gaming GPUs? The answer is absolutely. We've been doing this now, I think, at least 5 years with Jetson, starting with Maxwell. Volta, I guess, is our latest in Jetson, and you can check out we do have a roadmap on the Jetson developer site. We're looking forward to introducing a Jetson Orin product coming up. So, yeah, absolutely. It's one of the great things about Jetson is you get to enjoy the same NVIDIA GPU architecture and the same software that you do all across the product spectrum.
There's a question on how long is the DLI certification course. So there are assignments included depending on the pace at which you want to go. There are about 6 hours of lectures that is included. And again, depending on your pace, somebody who is really fast, want to go fast can probably do it in 2 weeks, but we expect within, 2 days. But we expect that most people would take anywhere between 3 to 4 days to a week to complete the certification. And important part of that is developing a project. You have to develop your own project and submit it to complete the certification, which can take a little bit of time.
I see a question here just asking, what exactly does cloud native capability mean for Jetson? Since, part of the benefit of a Jetson is, you don't have to have an internet connection all the time. Basically, it's shorthand for support for cloud native technologies like containerization, like orchestration. So those same great technologies which grew up in the cloud, in the data center, you can leverage them on your Jetson developer kit, on your Jetson production modules, and that's what we're talking about.
There's a question on when will Jetson be available. I'm assuming this is about the new Jetson Nano 2 GB. So you can pre-order yours now. The pre-order is open. We expect those to be shipped by the end of the month, and so you can order today. I'll take another question, which is asking about what's your favorite project from the Jetson community. It's amazing the number of projects that the community has developed. I can say my favorite ones based on my personal experience. So I don't like taking out trash. And there's a new community project where you can have an autonomous trash can go out of the house. And the second one is where somebody developed a camera and a Jetson connected system to the TV, so the kids in the house can actually do gestures and pose, and it will respond to that and help them interact with the TV. So those are my two favorite projects. There's another question. Go ahead.
I saw a question asking, hey, how come Jetson Nano 2 GB developer kit is using, an older GPU architecture from NVIDIA? Well, the fact is, that's a great architecture, and you're able to do all the AI learning and exploring that you need to do. So we think it's going to serve you very well. It's a great low-power, high-performance architecture that we first introduced with Jetson TX1. That was a little bit ago, but we're still supporting it, and we think it's going to be a great product for a lot of people.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions on the sweepstakes, so you don't need to enter anywhere. Anybody who's attending the session live will be entered into the sweepstakes for the Jetson Nano. The rules for being selected are also mentioned in the resources section, so you can find it there. There was a question on if the Jetson AI course will be comfortable for beginner programmers. Absolutely. As I said, we have tried to use the tools like Jupyter Labs that make it very easy for anybody to get started. So if you're a beginner, absolutely no problem. And as I mentioned in my talk, Jetson is designed for everyone from beginner to pro, and you can ramp up your learning and graduate to new levels of proficiency, all using the same platform.
I asked you a question, what sort of power supply do you need with the Jetson Nano 2 GB developer kit? The answer is just about any commonly available USB-C power supply that you use with your phone, your tablet, your laptop. As long as it supplies 3 amps, you're good to go.
There's a question on, can AWS IoT Greengrass be used and deployed on Jetson Nano 2 GB? And the answer is yes. They provide builds for Jetson Nano, and since Jetson Nano 2 GB is based on the same architecture, you will be able to use the AWS IoT Greengrass.
Let's see, somebody's asking, does it support Bluetooth? Yeah, if you're talking about the new 2 GB developer kit, the 802.11ac wireless adapter that we include with it does have Bluetooth support. And also there are other adapters you can plug in that'll work just fine. And I think we might even have a small how-to in our getting started guide for setting up maybe a Bluetooth audio device if you want to do that.
There's a question on, can you use the power supply from the Raspberry Pi with the Jetson? So yeah, if you have the power supply for one of the new Raspberry Pi 4, which is USB Type-C power supply, you can use that with the Jetson Nano 2 GB as well.
A lot of questions here. It's getting harder to parse. Let's see, will the slides be available? Oh, I think they said at the beginning that within an hour of the conclusion of this session that the session will be available to watch again. So I imagine there might be slides available with that too. I'm not sure.
There's a question of ROS, Foxy, and Noetic being supported with the Nano 2 GB. The answer is yes. So we have provided, if you search for Dusty NV containers, you will reach a GitHub repo where we provided a Docker file, and using those Docker files, you can set up your ROS development environment on any of the Jetson products. There's also there's another question on.
Go for it.
Let me finish it. So there's a question about selling cooling fans from Jetson Nano from our partners, and does it need a cooler? The Jetson Nano can get pretty hot. Again, it will not impact the performance as much, but it does get really hot for people to touch. So if you are planning to run heavy workload, like probably doing training, we do recommend that you attach a fan, and you can connect that to a header that we provide. And on Jetson Nano 4 GB, there's a pre-installed header, and on Nano 2 GB, there's a slot where you can connect your own header and plug in a fan.
Yeah, actually, as I said before, we have the 2 different SKUs for the Jetson Nano 2 GB developer kit. The one that does include the Wi-Fi also has the fan header pre-populated. We'll be rolling that in the future for the other developer kit also. But Meanwhile, it is easy. Like Amit said, there's a little spot there, and you can just solder on your own fan header. Somebody's asking where they can pre-order the Jetson Nano 2 GB developer kit. Just go to the developer website, Jetson developer website, and there's a page for buying Jetson. You can click your region, whatever part of the world you're in, and it'll refresh the page and give you all the resellers where you can pick that up.
There's a question on what's the difference between Jetson Nano and a Raspberry Pi. So Raspberry Pi is great for learning computers, but Jetson Nano actually helps you move into AI. And as you see, with the challenge with AI is that it's constantly evolving, and the software tools are constantly getting updated. So with Jetson Nano, you're able to run any model, any framework, any of the new things that come in. And also with our software tools, it becomes really easy to learn AI on the Jetson. And the last thing, which is another very important aspect, is the performance. When you're interacting with the thing, if you're building a small robot, if you're building a smart sensor, you want it to be interactive, you want it to respond to what you're doing, and that means you need a performance. And the performance, as we shared in my slides, you're looking at anywhere from 10x to 100x performance compared to Raspberry Pi. So it's purpose-built for AI learning and development, and that's where Jetson Nano is the right thing to use.
I see a question here about setting up, how you set up your Jetson developer kit, how you set up your developer environment with the development tools that you want. So there's a couple of different ways. Traditionally, I guess I could say that because we've been around a little while, we've had an installer that you run on your Linux PC. You put your developer kit into a recovery mode, and then you connect it to your Linux PC, and then you use that installer to flash the developer kit and set up all the software. And we still totally support that, and that's a pretty good way to go, especially if you want to use some of our very excellent developer tools, debuggers, on your Linux host PC. Of course, a lot of people don't want that full heavyweight professional development solution, and a lot of our newer developer kits, you can simply set up your SD card and plug it into the developer kit, and you're off to the races. So I think both directions are there and available, and of course you can use the more involved method with any of our developer kits, even with the Jetson Nano, and then you've got access to those really great host PC tools.
There was a question in one of the benchmarks, why is Jetson Nano slower than the Coral, the Google Coral? As you know, the Google Coral is an ASIC that is being kind of designed for a specific model. So the MobileNet SD model, which came out of Google research, it's been optimized for that model, and that's why you see a better performance for that one model on the Coral. But Jetson Nano is built on a completely programmable CUDA GPU architecture, which allows you to run a wide variety of different models, frameworks. You can run training, you can run inference, you can run RNNs. So it's the programmable architecture that allows us to run everything. And that's why you see that on one or two models where the Coral has been optimized for specifically that model, they run better. But if you go to a diverse set of models, you will see that Jetson Nano can run them. And in a lot of cases, Coral will not be able to even run those models, again, because it's specifically designed for a specific architecture.
I got looks like a follow-up question, just asking for more detail. Is Linux required to be able to run to use Jetson? Well, I guess so in one sense. I mean, the Jetson runs Linux operating system, just a familiar Linux development environment. So even if you use your Windows computer to download the SD card image and flash it to an SD card, you're flashing a Linux operating system to that SD card, and that's what your Jetson will run.
There's a question on, is there a big difference between the 2 gigabyte version and the 4 gigabyte version of the Jetson Nano? And if there's anything improved in 2 gigabyte version? Jetson Nano 4 gigabyte is the superset of features of that you would get from 2 GB. So Jetson Nano 2 GB has reduced memory capacity. We have reduced one of the USB ports. We have removed one of the CSI cameras. So that in that sense, there are a few things that are less than the 4 GB, but everything that's there on 2 GB is available in 4 GB for sure.
I see a question about the Jetson 2 gigabyte developer kit. You notice that there's a bolt pattern on top of the heatsink. If you do want to add active cooling, if you want to add a fan. Yeah, from memory, I think it's a 40 millimeter by 40 millimeter size, but that's definitely documented in the Getting Started guide. We've got a supported components list there at the end, which mentions, I know specifically, a fan that you might be able to hook onto there.
There's another question on, the level of commitment needed for a project to get certificate. Am I looking at days, weeks, or months? It's actually very straightforward. We have a few different criteria along which we would be evaluating the project. I expect that, after you've learned all the things that have been taught in the curriculum, it should take you a few days to come up with a good project. I think the most challenging part is coming up with the idea of what you want to build. I'm sure after learning, you would have a lot of ideas. So selecting one and working on it, that might be your hardest challenge. But actually building one should not be really hard, especially given all the software and tools that we provide. In fact, as a part of your curriculum, all the software that is provided as part of the learning is modular, as I mentioned. So you can actually take pieces from it to build up your project as well. It's completely modular. You can take pieces of it, add your idea to it, and develop a project.
I see a question here. Can we use Jetson without OS or like a bare metal system? Something you might want to look at is one of our ecosystem partners, RidgeRun. I know they've really taken the lead on Yocto, using Yocto with Jetson. So take a look at RidgeRun and Yocto, and you'll probably be able to come up with a very slim sort of OS for those needs.
I do see a few questions about the CAN interface in Nano. So the Jetson Nano natively does not support the CAN interface. However, if you're using the production SOM of the Jetson Nano 4 GB, we do have some partners that provide carrier boards that interface CAN with the Jetson Nano.
There's a question about the Jetson certifications that we're rolling out, the training and certifications. Do you have to have the new 2 gigabyte developer kit? Can you use the previous Jetson Nano developer? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you can use any of them. I think the content was written, and a lot of the hands-on demonstration is built around the Jetson Nano 2 gigabyte developer kits. Either way, but any of them will work just fine.
Question on using Nano for training as well as distributed training on a fleet of Jetson devices. Again, given that the amount of compute that you need to really train a full model, we do not recommend you to train everything from scratch on a Jetson because it'll take a long time to do that. However, if you're doing an incremental training, when your device is off at rest mode, you can, as we show in our examples, actually part of the class, as I showed, where with the JetBot, you can just collect a few hundred images of what's blocked, what's not blocked, and train a model. All of that can be done on the Jetson itself.
Someone's asking about the, okay, so we made a new Jetson Nano developer kit, and it's got 2 gigabytes instead of 4. So how much is Linux using and how much is left? So we did make a change to the desktop. Instead of using the standard sort of GNOME window manager, we did move to LXDE with OpenBox window manager. So with that slimming down, some other optimizations that we've rolled in there, you've got about 1 gigabyte left out of the 2 when you're running the developer kit. So on occasions where you're going to want some more, then we do recommend that you get a swap file going on your SD card. But we did some major trimming there to help out with that.
There was a question on if there are any links for getting started on Jetson. I mentioned a few things in my presentation, but if you go to the developer.nvidia.com/Jetson, you will see on the main page, we have a section which says, if you're new to Jetson, where to get started. And I'm sending that link broadcasting to everyone, so you have that handy, and you can go to that web page and start your journey.
I see a question about, what if I have to flash, 50 or 100 devices? Looks like also asking about OTA. So after initial flash, updates later in the field with some sort of network connection. So I guess we do address both parts. Starting in the previous release of Jetpack, we introduced there's a shell script that comes with it for flashing multiple units at once. So you can definitely flash many in parallel. As far as OTA, one of the great benefits of supporting cloud-native technologies, containerization, orchestration, is exactly that. You can roll out updates to your devices in the field that you've prepared in the cloud using containers. As far as more hardcore OTA, like actual reflashing of the units in the field, AD partitioning, etc., that is on the roadmap. We are definitely rolling forward with that. So if that was where you were going with the question, yeah, we're going there.
Just a quick time check. We're running about time, so we'll take one last question.
What does that mean? You get the last question?
It's all yours, Phil.
No, just go for it, buddy. I was just teasing you.
All right. So the last question is, can the Jetson Xavier NX run the JetBot? So this is a general statement about all Jetson. So our software stack is same for all Jetson. So any application that you develop, any library that you're using on the Nano is available on NX. It's available on AGX Xavier. So the short answer is yes, you can use the JetBot with Xavier NX, and you can use any other application that you may have developed with Jetson Nano or TX2 or NX and run it on a different Jetson platform, because we have exactly the same software stack that runs on all of these products. So with that question, I would like to thank you all again for joining us today, and we will notify you via email about the winner of the Jetson Nano 2 GB sweepstakes, and stay tuned and enjoy the rest of the GTC. Thank you.